Hi, boys and girls. It's Miss Norris. I just wanted to go over briefly prime and composite numbers. It's been a couple weeks, so I just wanted to make sure that you guys understood them to complete the work that we're about to do this week. Okay, so just to refresh your old noggin, we talked about factors for a couple weeks ago. We talked about how factors of a number break down that number, so they get smaller. They go into that tornado and become smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay, so they start out big and they go small, 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 small. Okay, numbers have factor pairs. Some numbers have, well, all numbers have factor pairs. It just we're going to focus on how many factor pairs each number has. Okay, if we're looking at 6, 6 has 2 factor pairs. It is 1 times 6 and it has 2 times 3. Those are its factor pairs. When we list the factors in an organized list, it looks like this over here, where we've written it. It's not letting me. Over here, where we have 6, and then 1, 2, 3, and 6. Those are all the factors of 6. Okay, we did that for 12 too. With 12, we found out that there were 3 factor pairs. There's 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. And if we were writing them in an organized list, this is what it would look like, nice and organized. Okay, so composite numbers have more than 3 factors. Looking at 6, it has 1, 2, 3, 4 factors. Looking at 12, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 factors. Looking at 25, it has 3 factors. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so all numbers that have more than 3 factors are considered composite numbers. Composite. Okay, we need to figure out which one of the numbers on a hundreds chart from 1 to 100, we need to figure out which one of the numbers on this chart are prime and which ones are composite. So I'm making you guys figure this out, and this is going to be a good tool for you to use when we dive into fractions, which is coming next. Okay, so if you were looking at this chart, you need to ask yourself, it's a way for you to save information about prime and composite numbers so that you don't have to figure it out every single time you come to the number. If it's under 100, you can look at your hundreds chart right here and you can be like, oh, I've already figured out which ones are prime and which ones are composite. Let me go look at my chart. And then you keep it in your green toolkit, okay? You have 2 options. You can print this document out and color, or you could do this right on the computer, okay? You can color these boxes. So going back to our prime numbers here, I was showing you that here are some composite numbers, and then I was showing you basically here, these are prime numbers, 2, 3, 5, and 7. Those are the first 4 prime numbers on that chart. The reason they are prime numbers is because they only have 2 digits that make that number. The only numbers that you can multiply together to get 2 are 1 and 2. The only numbers that you can multiply together to get 3 are 1 and 3. The only numbers that you can multiply together to get 5 are 1 and 5. And the only numbers that you can multiply together to get 7 are 1 and 7. Okay, so if I wanted to show this on my chart, I would go back to my chart, okay? Oh, one more thing. The digits 0 and 1 are not prime or composite, so we don't need to worry about them at all, okay? That's why I made the number 1 on this chart gray, because it's not prime and it's not composite. It's just a number, okay? So I've already told you guys that 2 is a prime number because 1 and 2 go into that number. So I clicked right next to the 2, okay? That's what you're going to do in order to color this square in, okay? On this bar up here where you can change the font and the size of your font, if you go all the way to the end here, you will see like 3 dots like this, and if you click on it, it will give you more options. There's this little bucket in here. It says the background knowledge. It's supposed to be a paint can with a drop of paint coming out. That's what you want. So you click on that arrow. We are going to make all prime numbers red. So I'm going to click on the red, and there we go. My 2 is a prime number. Okay, I also told you that 3 is a prime number, 5 is a prime number, and 7 is a prime number. Let's take a look at the other numbers in this row. 4 is not prime because I can do 1 times 4, and then I can do 2 times 2. So that makes 4 composite. Okay, 6 is not prime. 6 you could do, we've already talked about, 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. So it has more than 2 factors. So we're going to color it blue. 8, not prime. 1 and 8, 2 and 4, we're going to make it blue. 9, 1 and 9, 3 times 3. People sometimes forget about that. They want to make 9. Some people think odd. All the odd numbers are prime. That's not true. That's not true at all. So don't go with that. 9 is an odd number, and it is composite. 10, also composite. 2 times 5. Okay? I'm going to show you some tricks, because what kind of teacher would I be without giving you guys some tricks? All even numbers are going to be composite. You can divide every even number by 2. So that makes them all composite. All numbers that end in a 0 or a 5 are also composite numbers, because you can divide any of those numbers that end in a 0 and a 5, you can divide them by 5, and you'll get an answer. So if I was going to show that on my chart, I want to show that all even numbers are composite. So not 2. 2 is the only exception. 2 is the only number that's even and prime. So it's the only prime even number. So starting with 12, I'm going to highlight this whole row, and I'm going to make it blue because all of those numbers are composite. I would also do that for the row of 4, make them all blue because 4 is a even number. This row of 6, all the numbers that end in 6, they are all even numbers. That makes them composite. This whole row of 8, all the numbers that end in 8, those are composite. This whole row of 0 that end in 0, those are composite because you can divide them by 2 and 5. Okay, the other trick I showed you, all numbers besides 5 that end in 5 are divisible by 5. So that means that they're composite. Okay, so you guys are going to get this chart, and it's going to be blank. I'm going to erase everything that I just did on it, and you guys are going to go from number to number to decide if it's prime or composite. Here's another hint right here. There is only 25 prime numbers on this chart. Let's see if you can find them. All right. Good luck. Again, you can print this out and color it if you'd rather, and then just have someone take a picture of it for me and send it. Or you can do it the way I'm showing you digitally, and then you can hand it in to me through the class, through a Google Classroom. Okay? Again, this is going to help. Once you have this chart, you'll be able to play the game that I have put up for you in the math section, and that's just good practice. You're definitely going to want to have this chart in front of you, though, to play that game, or else you'll get a little frustrated. Okay, that's it. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you soon.